What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about how cornerback for the New York Giants, Janoris Jenkins, has been cut because he called a fan the R word. So let's see what they have to say about that.
The New York Giants waived cornerback Janoris Jenkins 2 days after he made an inappropriate remark on Twitter. On Wednesday, Jenkins called a fan, quote, a retard, end quote, who was critical of his play. Jenkins did apologize, but later said the usage of the word was slang and just a part of my culture. Giants coach Pat Shurmur said in a statement today that Jenkins' refusal to admit what he did was wrong led to his dismissal.
So hold up. So this man is no longer employed by the Giants because he called a fan a retard? I mean, out of all the things he could have said, he got fired because he called a fan a retard? You got to be kidding me. Let's continue.
Max.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to this?
I mean, I thought an appropriate response from the Giants would have been, it's politically incorrect to use that. It used to be a medical classification, but it became perceived as derogatory, and it's politically incorrect to do that.
Yes.
And you're also insulting the fan. You're representing the Giants organization. Go do some community work in a hospital that specializes in helping, or a place that specializes in helping people with who are challenged in that way. At any rate, I thought that would be appropriate. They cut him. And normally you'd say, boy, that shows you signs that there's a good culture there. But actually, the fact that he refused to stand down tells me that this whole thing is a sign that there's a bad culture there. And that whole kind of reflexively conservative New York Football Giants mentality that Gettleman is supposed to represent, we haven't seen that reflected in the team, really. And it starts at the top. Gettleman, Shurmur, why is he so happy to leave?
Let me piggyback.
So again, I just can't believe that this man is no longer employed by the Giants because he called a fan a retard. I'm telling you, out of all the things he could have said, and look at these fans are getting more and more power. So let's take a look at the track record of fans within the past year. So wasn't Myles Garrett punched in the face by a fan a couple months ago when Myles let him take a picture of him and then a fan just punched him from out of nowhere? What was it last year? Wasn't Russell Westbrook harassed by some fans in Utah to the point that he was about to go hands-on some of those fans because they kept harassing him? And as far as calling somebody a retard, I do recall LeBron James during an interview calling one of the media jackals a retard. And he did it during a press conference. I think he was sitting next to Dwayne Wade. You guys can check that out. So, I mean, this just really doesn't make sense. And there has to be more to the story than what we're hearing. Because you just called him a retard. I know we want to be politically correct, but, I mean, it doesn't make sense. So, let's continue.
Off of what you're saying to take this to another level. We're sitting here. We just heard about it. We don't cover the Giants, so we don't know. This is just my opinion, obviously. I think the Giants are lying. And I'm going to tell you why. He did initially apologize because he recognized that it was insensitive. So why would he make a big deal out of it now? Think about it for a second here. You used an inappropriate, apolitical, correct word, okay? Folks make mistakes all the time. We're human beings. He's a human being, okay? You apologize. It was for a fan that was, jabbing at you. You reacted inappropriately. Who would have a problem with apologizing for it, especially since he initially did? Somewhere along the way, what are you talking about? If you're Pat Shurmur, Jenkins' refusal to admit he was wrong. If he apologized, what was the conversation about?
Exactly. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. What is elementary school? Somebody call me a retard, now I'm hurt. I know we want to be politically correct, but I mean, come on. He didn't cuss the guy's family out. He didn't talk about his family. He didn't talk about his mom. He didn't talk about his wife. He didn't threaten the guy to beat him up. He didn't actually put hands on the fan. All he did was call him a retard, and he's no longer employed because he called him a retard? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. What it does, it sets the bar so high for the Giants now that, okay, anything worse than calling somebody a retard, that person better get fired. You better get fired. So you can't call anybody stupid. You can't call anybody an idiot. Because I think idiot is a term that they used as a term to call somebody stupid or dumb. So you can't call anybody an idiot. Anything above calling somebody a retard, you better get fired for it. You better get fired for it. So I don't know. Let's continue.
Conversation. Think about that for a second. You spoke inappropriately, off the cuff, reacting to a fan. Why do you need to have further conversation about it with the coach unless it's about something more than that? The reality of the situation is clear. What Jenkins, in my opinion, probably had a problem with is, who the hell are you to lecture me? To me, it was an excuse to have that kind of confrontation. Jenkins clearly doesn't have much respect, because I promise you, if it was Bill Belichick or somebody else that said, let's move past this, apologize and move on, I don't think, we've met him. He's been on this show a couple of times.
Jack Rabbit.
He does not strike me as the kind of person that would have a problem with saying, look, man, I shouldn't have used that word. I apologize. That's that. He doesn't strike me as that person. So to me, it's more about his problem with Shermer. It's more about his problem with the Giants than it is about this incident. And why would he have a problem with them? Could it be because you lost 9 straight? Could it be because you're 2-11? Could it be because you absolutely, positively stink as an organization right now? Your GM's on his way out the door. He should be. The coach damn sure is on his way out the door. Okay, some of the decisions that have been made, some of the bodies that have gone out the door, the trading of Odell Beckham Jr., which wasn't a popular move by a lot of those players was inside that locker room, et cetera, et cetera. You see some of the things that have transpired within the Giants organization, and what you're saying is, wait a minute. The word was inappropriate. All right, I apologize for that. But beyond that, I'm supposed to take lectures from you?
Well, and also...
And again, do you know how many football games I've actually been to in the NFL, and even college, where the fans and the players cuss each other out, especially if you're an away team? The team comes running out, you're close to the sideline or whatever, you say, oh, you guys suck or whatever, or, the players will yell right back. They're cuss you out, say F word, and it's no big deal. It's not a problem. But this guy was harassed by a fan and then called him a retard, and now he's fired? You cut him? I mean, that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. And there's definitely more to it than what they're talking about. Because, like I said, these fans are getting away with way too much. So not only can you not protect yourself if a fan tries to come at you or touch you or mess with you, but now if a fan verbally abuses you, you can't even verbally abuse them back? You can't even call them a retard? You got to be kidding me, man. There's a problem here. So let's continue.
Organization.
It may just be a good excuse to get rid of a player that they want to get rid of.
That's what I'm saying.
They're moving players out the door they think are bad for the culture, but maybe they want to look at themselves in terms of the culture that's being set.
Yes.
The front office and the coach, because the players don't seem happy. And
why should they be?
And you could point to Odell and say, well, he also doesn't appear to be that happy in Cleveland. You could also say, why should he be? Maybe that's one of the reasons he got moved to Cleveland, right? But it's more than just this idea. Any malcontent or anyone that doesn't fit into these square pegs, we're going to ship out. And they identified what seems to be a talented quarterback, and they have a great running back. But it's more than that. You also got to start winning games at some point.
But Max, here's the funny part, right? They speak about a culture as if somehow, some way they're a gold standard, and they're so far removed from that. And here's the thing. This organization, in terms of that gold standard, was built upon the shoulders of one Lawrence Taylor, okay? Bill Belichick was on that NFL 100 thing, and I love this story, and he was talking about how, Lawrence Taylor, we had this, practice, and, LT, we started about 5 minutes late. And because LT showed up about 5-6 minutes late, he went to Bill Parcells and told him that. He said, Bill Parcells looked at me and he said, why didn't you start practice 6 minutes late?
Hey, see, that's the type of treatment you get when you're the best linebacker of all time, which LT is. So, like I said, back to this whole somebody calling somebody a retard thing, it just doesn't make sense at all. I mean, was the fan offended? Is he threatening to sue? Or what's going on with this? Because the fan doesn't even care. It just doesn't make sense. He called him a retard. Like I said, the bar has been set for the Giants. And anything less than calling somebody retard, you better get fired. You better get fired. And I can think of a lot more words worse than calling somebody retard. So they better get fired, just like Janoris Jenkins has been fired because he called somebody retard. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And what does that say for the fans? That lets the fans know you could do whatever you want. And if you call me anything less or anything more than a retard, then I'll have your job. I'll report you. I don't know. Let's continue.
That's
LT. Yeah.
That's LT. You see what I'm saying? What I'm saying to you is this. The standard that the Giants pretend to live by, that doesn't embody what your franchise was about. You had some Rough Riders. You had Carl Banks. You had Harry Carson. You had LT in the crew. You had cats that could ball, that showed up and took your heart and did what they needed to do, and they won football games. The Giants appear to be more interested in winning headlines and making sure that their culture isn't compromised in whatever way they deem unnecessary or unfavoring to them, as opposed to prioritizing doing what's best for the team to win football games. And you got cats like him that said, I don't want to be here. He probably wanted to get cut.
Everyone gets tired of losing after a while. The team has been losing and losing and losing season after season. They're tired of it. And
yeah, they may be tired, so I didn't mean to cut them off. They may be tired, but I mean, you think that's going to help the morale of the Giants by having one of your quarterbacks be cut because he called a fan a retard? What did that fan call him? Like I said, he's so lucky. All he did was call him a retard. I know plenty of players that cuss fans out for simple stuff. You would get cussed out very quickly. I mean, you got to be kidding me. That does not help the morale of the Giants locker room. It can't. Because now you know, if I say anything more than calling somebody a retard, I can get fired. That doesn't help the morale. So let's continue.
And Gettleman especially, and also Sherman, he brings in the coach who's had no success at the head coaching level. And like at a certain point, you can say, well, it takes time to establish a culture, and you'll see there's a long-term plan, piece by piece. But I noticed that other teams that rebuild, they don't go through this many years of stinking on ice. Like this, the team